Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is January 27th, 2026, and Barcelona have made a move for an 18-year-old Dutch defender. I'm going to tell you who it is. Also, Barcelona have reached an agreement in principle with Fermin Lopez. And finally, Barcelona currently interested in signing a midfielder out of Racing de Santander. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, and I'm still away from home. I'm still away from my YouTube studio. This is why I'm bringing you this short live stream to keep you up to date on all Barcelona news. This is not a podcast. I will not be reading the comment section. Again, this is just to bring you Barcelona news as I'm currently away from home. Now, let's dive right into the news because, ladies and gentlemen, these were the scenes on Sunday when Barcelona defeated Real Oviedo at the Spotify Camp Nou. As you know, there were heavy rains in Barcelona. And while a lot of images started circulating social media showing the floods currently at the Spotify Camp Nou. Now, the stadium did flood thanks to those heavy rains. And of course, these images have, gone around on social media with Madridistas, with people making fun of the Camp Nou. Oh, look at Barcelona. They spent 1.5 billion euros on their stadium, and their stadium got flooded with some rain. Ha, ha, ha. Look how stupid they look. Now, let's break this down a little bit because, unfortunately, we live in a day and age where social media, instead of bringing us together, that's what that was the intention behind it, right? Is to bring people together, bring families, friends together. Instead, it has given a voice to the stupid, right? People who are dumb as a fucking rock, no IQ, and that social media, unfortunately, has given them a stage to spread their stupidity and show the world how stupid they are. So let's break this down because a lot of these posts were saying, oh, look, the Spotify Camp Nou, 1.5 billion euros they spend on it and it's flooding. First of all, the Spotify Camp Nou is not finished, right? The stadium is not going to be finished until the end of 2027. Imagine you're building your house. You build the foundation, you put up the walls. You haven't built the roof yet. It rains and there's water inside the construction. And people are like, ha, 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 look, your house is flooding. And you're like, well, duh, but the roof is not built yet. Like, it's like, are these people seriously this dumb where they are surprised that an unfinished stadium with no roof flooded when it rained? I mean, Madridistas, are you guys okay? Look, my favorite insult when I like to piss people off, I always say, your mother should have swallowed you. And I think this insult definitely applies here because not only are these people stupid enough to get surprised that an unfinished stadium with no roof gets flooded with rain, they forget this beautiful image. This is the Santiago Bernabeu, completely underwater after it was finished. Now that to me is a problem because if you build a house with a roof and now a roof starts leaking when it rains, that's a problem. If your house still doesn't have a roof because you're still building it and it floods when it rains, that's normal. There's no roof. But this is a problem. That's a finished stadium that actually flooded. Madridistas, why do you force me to do this to you? Why do you force me to make you look so stupid? Maybe because you are. But anyways, let's move on. Let's move on from bad news to good news. Bad news, of course, being that we're surrounded by idiots. But let's move on from bad news to good news because, ladies and gentlemen, our one and only, Joan Garcia has won the Save of the Month for the month of January, thanks to his save against Espanyol, where he saved the shot by Pere Mila. An incredible save where Joan Garcia showed us that he has cat-like reflexes. Now, of course, I can't show you the play because of copyright infringement, but please go watch it. I know you probably watched it, but it deserves to be watched again. Just YouTube Joan Garcia save against Pere Mila because it's one hell of a save. And that's the one. And as a result, Joan Garcia has won Save of the Month for the month of January. Now, Joan Garcia so far has maintained 8 clean sheets in 15 matches. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an incredible achievement for a team that plays with a very high defensive line. Juan Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, 25 million euros. What a steal. Now, on to that next bit of news because Barcelona have made a move for a defensive Dutch player whose name is Ruud Nijstad. Ruud Nijstad. Ruud is Ruud. If anyone speaks Dutch, please correct me if I'm wrong as far as the pronunciation. Nijstad, Nijstad. Now, if you don't know who Ruud Nijstad is, he's an 18-year-old center back, Dutch center back, currently plays for FC Twente in the Netherlands. He is considered an incredibly promising defender currently in the Dutch league. He's also an international with the Dutch under-18 team. He's someone who's known for his technical quality, his composure, and imposing physique. Now, Ruud Nijstad has a contract with his current club, Twente, until 2027, meaning in the summer he will be entering the final year of his contract, or right now he only has a year and a half left on his contract. Of course, being how promising he is, SC Twente are working very, very hard on renewing his contract, but Barcelona have sent a delegation to his house. Barcelona's delegation went to this guy's house to convince him not to renew with SV Twente and instead to come to Barcelona to sign for Barça Athletic with the prospect or with the opportunity to be able to, get promoted to the first team if he impresses with Barça Athletic. Now, they're saying that Barcelona will now try to negotiate with SV Twente, but Ruud Nijstad, ladies and gentlemen, could be Barcelona's next signing during this winter transfer market. My guy, Deco, and Joao Amaral have been working very, very, very hard. It looks like the signing of Joao Amaral has really, really helped Deco step up his game because this winter transfer market, ladies and gentlemen, we are cleaning house. We are signing so many promising players. I mean, it's blowing my mind because let's not forget, this is the winter transfer market. This is not even a market where clubs sign a lot of players, and yet here we are, full steam. Now, speaking of signings, we do have to move on to the next bit of news because Barcelona have reached an agreement in principle with Fermin Lopez. Now, as I told you in a previous video, Barcelona had reached out or had held a meeting with Fermin Lopez's agent because they want to extend the contract of what has become one of the most important players on our squad. They wanted to extend his contract by 2 more years, also give him a salary bump. And well, lo and behold, that's exactly what has happened. Of course, Fermin Lopez did not hesitate. He immediately agreed. So Barcelona have reached an agreement in principle with Fermin Lopez to extend his contract from 2029 until 2031. So 2 more years added with a 50% salary bump and also an increase in that release clause. Now, this was confirmed by the player himself when he stated the following. Yes, things are going pretty well. Of course, talking about the renewal. There are still a few things to sort out, but I intend to stay at Barca, which is the most important thing for me. And the truth is that I hope it happens soon, and I'm very happy. So there you have it, folks. The renewal is happening. The renewal has, agreement in principle reached. You just got to finalize a few details, and then it will be officially announced maybe this week, maybe next week, but it is happening. Now, let's end today's video because speaking of midfielders, Barcelona are currently tracking a prospect, a Spanish midfield prospect whose name is Sergio Martinez. Now, if you haven't heard of Sergio Martinez, he's an 18-year-old midfielder currently playing for Racing de Santander. He's considered a very promising midfielder currently in Spain, and it's reported that both Barcelona and Villarreal are ready to submit loan offers for the player with options to buy. In other words, they're looking to sign him on loan until the end of the season with an option to buy in the summer if the guy ends up impressing. Now, of course, we are competing directly with Villarreal, and you might think, well, if Barca comes knocking on your door and Villarreal comes knocking on your door, it's a pretty easy choice, right? You go to Barca. Here's the problem. This signing would be for Barça Athletic. As far as Villarreal, this signing would be for Villarreal B, which is the reserve team. Barça Athletic are playing in 4th division. Villarreal B are playing in 3rd. So, This is going to be tough because on one hand, Barca's Barca. Of course, you want to play for Barca, not Villarreal. But you would be going all the way down to fourth division. Now, there's other competition too from outside of Spain. Hoffenheim, Red Bull Salzburg, and Club Brugge are all also interested in the player. But just know that Barcelona, very interested in Sergio Martinez for Barca Athletic. Sergio Martinez, who has a contract until 2029 with a €3 million release clause. Anyways, that is all the news for this live. I'm going live in a few more moments, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, Barça.